next to me, I feel more alone. You can't get close to me or see what I have shown. So unconvinced you'll see, oh what a tragedy. Can't help but think it's over. You think by now I'd know her. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I feel like I'm in love. I feel like I've been used. I think I've had enough. Tired of being your excuse. Tell me it's not too late. You'll be my last mistake. Can't keep my heart from bleeding. You've lost your voice from screaming. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down. I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of falling down.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Van Philosophy. We've got a crazy topic. We say that every time.
Crazy.
This one's super crazy. This one's going to start off with a viewer discretion is advised when we get into it.
And it's like, it's a little sad too.
It's a little sad.
You know, so like,
Yeah.
viewer discretion to get a tissue box.
To get a tissue box.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe. Rachel here says she digs your glasses.
Oh, thank you.
He got them from the Dollar General.
Yeah, basically. No, I got them online.
Yeah.
You can get everything online these days. It's
So you like ordered like your prescription online?
Yeah,
Was it cheap?
you go and yeah, actually, it's amazing.
I'm always worried about it.
I'm
still in the I pay my eye doctor way too much for these.
Yeah, I noticed like at the eye doctor, it's like 5 times the price.
Sure, yeah. Like $300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but no, you get your official prescription, and then they have to call your doctor and verify that you have the prescription, and then you enter in, your left eye is this.
So they call your doctor and they're like, see, we're selling glasses, not you. Now, then your
Well,
doctor doesn't like you as much.
I think it's illegal
business.
to purchase eyeglasses with a prescription. It's like prescription
Right.
drugs.
Yeah. That's kind of weird though. I feel like if I wanted to wear big bottle cap glasses or whatever, those big thick ones, if I wanted to, I could.
Yeah. Well, you can as long as they don't say that they're prescription glasses. Like you can get reading glasses.
Yeah.
And you can get like attitude glasses.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now there's the blue blocker glasses.
Well, gotta go find Rachel. Bye. Don't stick around. But anyway, we do have a show coming up tomorrow. We're doing like an acoustic vibe thing in Dahlonega, Georgia. You can find information over on Roshambeaux.com. You click on the little tours tab, tours dates, and you'll figure that out. But before we get into our main topic, which is the Russian doll maker, not to be confused with the Russian doll maker. It's the Russian doll maker.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though. Like, he made Russian dolls, technically, because they were, made in Russia.
Sure.
But
But I don't think they stacked inside of each other. Anyway, so
maybe they did.
what have you been up to this week? What's been going on? What you got?
Well, I've been getting the acoustic guitar out this week, so we got the show coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to change your whole world, but I'm going to be like, nah, I want to do piano. Your whole world's just going to turn upside down.
Oh, like tomorrow?
Yeah.
We could.
We could.
We could do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring the whole trap kit. I'm just going to do the box.
Yeah. I figured we'd do that, and then I'd
Yeah.
do guitar, and because we haven't done that in a while, it's fun to
Yeah.
just do it that way.
Every time we've done it since it's been the guitar. We haven't
with
actually, what we
guitar.
haven't done is the piano, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying with the using the trap kit or just the cajon. We
Yeah.
hadn't done just the cajon in a while.
Yeah.
I don't think. We've been doing the trap kit for
Yeah.
So I was going back on some of the Patreon requests and looking through and trying to kind of get a head start. So I got a good portion of something done this week.
Yeah.
And I'll
that's
show
what you said
later.
last week. This is like you're saying what you've been up to. You've been doing the same thing for 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You went back again?
when you're working on music,
But you went back
sometimes
again
it-
to the requests.
Yeah, I went back again,
Yeah.
and but last week I was trying to decide and trying to arrange stuff, but then this week I was actually tracking.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I've been doing tons of research and just researching my brain out.
Yeah.
And
Unlike-
I haven't really been researching it.
Oh, okay.
No, I've been hanging out, getting the video finished up. I've got maybe 1 minute left of the new cover video. I showed it to Kyle right before,
It looks
before
good.
we started here.
There's some cool stuff in there.
And getting that finished up, working at the shop, trying to get everything planned for that. We've got another big event coming up this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So and we're trying to just make future plan thingies and all that kind of jam.
Jimmy Jam.
That's been about it. I ate a little egg roll earlier.
It smelled like you go to grandma's house
Yeah.
and something's cooking and it's really good.
Yeah, it was real
That's
good.
what reminded me.
It was like
It smelled good in here.
scrambled eggs with some cheese
Scrambled eggs.
inside of a tortilla. You wrap it up. It's like a little wrap. I put a little bit of ketchup in there for some zang. I know there's some people that are don't do the ketchup on the eggs, but a little bit of ketchup on the eggs is pretty good.
That was a John Prine song, wasn't it? She puts ketchup on a scrambled egg.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who John Prine is?
No.
Oh man.
I don't keep up. I'm not
It's
hip.
I'm
not hip.
Well, it's it's like old music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like classic old music.
I'm definitely not that cool.
But yeah, I want to say there's a song about
Ketchup on the eggs?
ketchup on eggs.
Yeah. Well, I put ketchup on my eggs every once in a while. It was pretty good. And
I
I
do
had
too.
some sweet potato fries. That's pretty tasty. But yeah, that's what we've been up to. We do have some more shows coming up next month in a couple weeks. So make sure you guys go check out those as well on the tour dates thing. We're going to be hitting Chattanooga and Anderson and
Savannah. Florence.
Savannah and Florence. That's the next month, though.
Oh yeah, that's the couple weeks after these shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron says he's a classic folky guy. You wouldn't know him. True. Yeah, I'm not into that kind of stuff. But let's get into the story. The Russian doll maker.
Yeah. So this story takes place in I'm gonna probably butcher the name. but
Butcher it, dude. Let's kill it.
Nizhny Novgorod.
Nizhny. Not Nizhny, but Neat.
It's like Nizhny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of us before we neither one of us are fluent in Russian.
But I think do we have a map of it or a picture of it or something?
Yeah.
Maybe. Region. It was actually the Soviet Union, but now it's Russia. So now it's Nizhny Novgorod, but at the time it was called Gorky.
So it's to the west side here.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of close to. This is Ukraine here, right? They can't see my pointer, but.
Oh, they can say, like, if you see right here. Like,
Yeah,
well,
south of the green, I think, is where Ukraine is.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I was never like super good at geography.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there's this. It's about this man named Anatoly Moskvin. And Anatoly Moskvin, when he was a young boy, he would walk to and from school. And apparently, one day after school, that he said he alleged, like, I don't know if they can really prove a lot of the stuff he said about his childhood. But he said that there was this group of guys that coerced him into going to this funeral.
Right.
And so he ended up going with them and was at the funeral. And when he went up to the casket, he saw it was an 11-year-old girl named Natasha. And apparently, while he was looking at her corpse, there was someone there standing next to him that was like, you should give her a kiss. And he was weirded out by it, and the person like put his head like down into the casket and was like, give him a kiss or give her a kiss.
Right.
And so he did, but he was kind of traumatized by it. And also...
Well, depending on how you look at it, he was kind of intrigued by it too.
Yeah,
this little boy really never
think,
had any kind of experience with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like he was frightened by it, but then also had like a curiosity about it.
Just like kissing an alive girl.
And right.
Yeah.
So, and apparently he also said that the girl's mother had a pair of rings with her and put one on Natasha and put one on him and said that they were married. So anyway, he ended up having like reoccurring nightmares for the next couple of weeks, and then finally told his parents he was having trouble sleeping. So they took him to a doctor and they prescribed sedatives, which made the nightmares worse because he had insomnia. He was trying to not go to sleep to get the nightmares, and then he put to sleep.
Right. I don't think they were like strict sedatives. I think they were like just valerian. They were like a strong dose of valerian.
Yeah, I don't know like what the medicine was, but it just...
Well, I'm telling you what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you know it was valerian.
Yeah.
Valerian's good. We need to stop for a second.
Yeah.
Like,
Valerian's pretty good. Yeah.
Like, it's really good
Yeah.
when you can't sleep.
You got to be careful with it, though. I know some people react differently to it. So ask your doctor before you try anything.
I don't think it's something... Like, I don't take it every night.
No.
I take it, like, when I need it. Like
When we were on the road, I took it all the time.
Yeah, on the road, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but lately, maybe once a month.
Yeah.
You're just having trouble sleeping, so I take that.
Sure.
That's great.
Sometimes it feels good to just chug down a whole bottle of NyQuil and just tell the world goodbye.
Oh, that hurts like my insides thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever suffer from insomnia, man. Like you guys out there that has that, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you're like, please God, anything. So, yeah. Anyway, don't do that, kids, or
don't do
adults or anybody.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Anyway, where were we? So he's having these nightmares, right?
Yeah.
And in the nightmare, he said that Natasha would come and haunt him, I guess, in some way. And so after a few weeks of having these reoccurring nightmares, he asked Natasha if she could leave him alone. And she said the only way that she was going to leave him alone is if he gave the nightmares to someone else. And the only way to do that was to find someone's tooth or get someone to give him their tooth.
Right.
And put it
under
the pillow. I don't know. That's what Natasha told him in the dream. That's what he said.
Oh, okay.
So he goes to school and he finds like the school bully and somehow convinces the bully to give him a tooth. Like, or when he
Which is strange. You'd think you'd ask the nice guy.
Well, I think he was like, I'm going to give it to someone I don't like.
Right.
So that way they can be haunted by this person because he's giving them the nightmare. You don't want to give it to the nice kid because you're going to curse them.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he said that he was able to get a tooth, he put it under his pillow, and then the nightmare stopped. But he started having this growing fascination with death and dead people and cemeteries. So after school, almost every day they'd find him in the cemetery, he's just sitting there. And when like all the other kids were playing, he was at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was sexually assaulted. I guess you said you found out
he was actually raped. Yeah. When they were doing the evaluations and stuff towards the end of the story, He came out.
He said that he was raped.
But it's unknown if the parents actually knew or not, if he had told his parents or not.
Yeah. But that just kind of fueled this mistrust of adults and living people, because he's kind of traumatized by this group of people taking him to a funeral, and he goes to the funeral and they're like, you need to kiss the corpse.
Right.
And then they're like, and now you're married to the corpse.
I mean, most of us don't even need to kiss the corpse to not trust human beings.
Yeah, exactly. So he just didn't, he felt better at the cemetery.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to hurt him at the cemetery kind of thing. But in spite of him having all this trauma, he was actually really, really smart. And
he was like super smart, man.
Yeah.
I think he was like claimed to be a genius.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Just because like he did well in grade school, but then he went to the philological faculty of Moscow State University.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining that's just the way the Russians say, like, he went to college. You know?
Right, because by the end of it, he learned like 13 languages.
13 languages.
How many languages can you learn? How many languages? Kyle, you may know 1.5, right?
Yeah.
No, 1.5. I know 1 and 0.1.
Yeah.
You know? So.
But the thing is he kept to himself.
Yeah.
And so it was like he was either at school or he was just learning on his own. And then when he graduated, he studied linguistics, and then he studied Celtic history and folklore, and it was said that he had a library in his house of over 60,000 books.
Yeah.
But
so he was into folk. Do you think he was into John Prine?
you know what?
Might
It is Celtic folklore.
Oh.
And not American folk music.
But I mean, he did study in a lot of like different.
Yeah, but like maybe what?
Cultural.
Maybe he's a John Prine fan. I don't know.
Could have been.
Anyway.
This goes to show you, if you listen to John Prine, what you can become.
So anyway, but like I said, he probably was a genius because he's really respected in the academic community, and then he actually got a job teaching foreign language at the Russian Institute of Foreign Languages because he's fluent in 13 languages.
Yeah.
And then he went on to teach Celtic studies at Nizhny Novgorod Linguistic University.
I like how you put the little.
I was like, kind of like stumbling down.
Now, if
the
you were
hill
to
on
just
it.
say it,
No.
how would you say it now?
I would think if you were gonna just say it like a regular American, you'd be like Nizhny Novgorod. Nizhny Novgorod. Nizhny Novgorod.
Yeah.
Is a language school in over there.
What is funny, like Russian is like one of those languages, like you have to have the accent to truly say it.
Yeah.
It's weird, like you're kind of driven to have the accent when you're saying Russian words.
Yeah, and I mean, I would think that like that's how you can tell if you're not a native speaker in anything. So they go like, oh, you sound like you're speaking this language.
Right.
You're pronouncing it the way this language is.
Yeah. Weird.
But anyway, so while he was a professor, he wrote a bunch of books and academic papers. So he was like getting more and more well known in that circle.
Right.
Because he's really smart, and he's like either at work or he's studying. He actually never moved out of his parents' apartment, and he said he never dated anyone. He never got married. He was just like very, very reclusive.
Well, yeah, and he's just a super lonely dude. Imagine like the super loneliness, because like a lot of like really intelligent people can be like that. Mm-hmm. It kind of drives you into that sort of thing. I don't know quite why it does that, but a lot of like super intelligent people find themselves in that kind of lonely position.
Because you just can't deal with stupid people's bullshit.
Yeah, probably what it is. Probably.
So anyway, in 2005, he got this really, for him, a really, really awesome job offer from another academic publisher that was working on a project, and his name was Oleg Ryabov. And so...
Can you say that in with a Midwestern accent?
Oleg Ryabov! Oleg came up to him and said, hey, boy, I got a job for you.
I got a job.
So the job was a research project. Oleg wanted to compile like everything there was to know about Russian cemeteries.
Yeah.
And he wanted to hire someone to actually go on site and document who was buried there, how the grounds were laid out, how the the passageways in and out, just
Right, 'cause
everything there was to know.
Really, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of old school graveyards here that I've gone and visited. Like, there's no way that, like, most people don't know really who's all there. There's not really like documents of who's all actually there, and some of them even are just unmarked.
Yeah.
You know, so someone to actually be able to go back and kind of gather that for history's sake.
I think
Is it feasible
we have a
to-
photo too of like
Yeah.
it is. This is definitely well,
Which one are we on?
Russian cemeteries.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is a cemetery in Russia. I think this is one that he actually documented.
If you walk up to these tombstones though and push them, a rupee will pop out. But if you get the one on the far back left, and it's nighttime, you push it back, then the door will open so you can go down.
And I go.
Yeah, and then you can go down. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta get the Pegasus boots and ram it real hard. So for 2 years, from 2005 to 2007, he inspected 752 cemeteries, and he said he'd walk up to 18 miles a day.
I heard it was 20.
You heard it was 20.
20. 20.
So yeah,
Don't undersell it.
About 20.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll just say 18 to 20.
Yeah, sure.
You know, not 21.
No.
Not 17.
No.
We'll just say.
Who knows?
Somewhere in there.
Who wrote this down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he wrote a lot of stuff down.
We're about to get to that.
So he said that he would just camp in cemeteries, or he'd find an abandoned farm and sleep in haystacks. He said that he wanted his water source he would get from the puddles in the cemetery, because he felt like it like connected him to like the grounds, which that sounds kind of gross.
Yeah.
A bunch of like formaldehyde or something, you know. Maybe not. I guess not, because it's like the bodies are underground and the rain's coming down, so it hasn't really touched any of the
Not unless it starts going in reverse.
the icky grossness.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway. So the local police would get reports of suspicious activities, like someone sleeping in the cemetery.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Some dude's like creeping up.
They're like some of those guys writing stuff down.
Yeah.
So they would go out, and he would show them like credentials and documentation telling him what he was doing, and they would go, oh, and they just leave him alone. But there's actually, I guess, some reports saying that like he was really weird and quirky, but he wasn't doing anything illegal, so they leave him alone. And as time went on, I think like word kind of traveled. They're like, there's this guy that he's out in the cemeteries, he's documenting stuff, so he's not up to anything, so just leave him alone.
Well, by this time, he was already studying in like occult stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so like when he would go to these graves, man, what they're saying is like he would actually like lay on top of the grave and sleep there, so he could.
Yeah,
be there with him.
yeah, part of his library, other than like his like accredited area of study, he was really into occult and black magic and stuff like that. So anyway, so that job ended in 2007, and he returned home to live with his parents. He got a job as a freelance journalist, and he also had been doing that while he was a professor. He would just kind of do freelance stuff, and it was normally about like cemeteries and obituaries and people that died, just something to do with death. So he was kind of like a little bit of a local celebrity for that, because it's like, oh, like Anatoly wrote something in the paper again.
Yeah.
You know? So when he got back, he was.
You think they just called him Tully for short?
Yeah, I think Tully. Maybe Anna.
Yeah, I don't think he would like that.
Yeah, but like in Russian, maybe Anna is like a really masculine name.
Oh, right. It means like strong horse.
Anna.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah.
You know?
And Tully is like a beauty, so it's like strong horse of beauty. It's probably what it means.
Maybe.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Yeah.
I'm probably totally wrong about that, but whatever. It's cool.
What do you mean probably? Definitely
It's
wrong.
definitely.
It's definitely not that.
I was being optimistic. So in 2009, a few years after he moved back, the locals were reporting to the local police that graves were being disturbed. And they would go and visit a loved one, you know, on their birthday or on the day that they died, and they noticed like something was wrong, but they couldn't quite put their finger on it. It was just something was off. There was nothing really obvious in any of the reports. And then also locally, Anatoly, he lived with his parents, they started noticing he started collecting dolls and like making dolls. And he's just getting into dolls. And so this goes on for 2 years.
Which is real quick, which is kind of understandable. I know that sounds kind of. It's like most people, you'd be like, that sounds really weird. Someone like an older person collecting dolls, this, that, and the other. But it's a basic human necessity to have like comfort and like connection with something.
Yeah, have human connection even if it's not.
And that's why like, even like in today's world, you have people that like don't have time for like an actual relationship with somebody, like an emotional relationship that might have some kind of inanimate object that they spend time with and all those kinds of. We see stories about that all the time.
There was a whole documentary on that of like people that have like
real
companion
dolls.
dolls.
Yeah. It's the whole thing.
Yeah. So I mean, his parents thought it was weird, but they weren't like.
Yeah. It's strange,
Yeah,
but it's like
strange,
once you
but
break it down, you
it's
sort
like-
of go, oh,
But
right.
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like he'd been through a lot.
Yeah.
And he was always kind of a quirky kid anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, in 2011, the police, because they're out kind of looking in cemeteries, like trying to find someone. So in 2011, they noticed that there's someone painting gravestones. And they go up and they get a closer look and they see it's Anatoly and they recognize him because he's like a local writer.
Right.
And they're kind of like, well, hey, what are you doing? But they kind of knew that he did grave research and like he did this big famous study a couple years ago. And also they didn't really want to let on that they were investigating, someone committing crimes. So they said they're just kind of asking him like, how's it going? What you been working on and all that stuff. And then one of the officers suggests that they go back to his apartment and just hang out and chat and talk about what he's doing. And so Anatoly's like, yeah, we can go back to my apartment. So they get back to the apartment and they open the door and the stench in the place is just unbearable. And also what's creepy is like there's all these dolls in his apartment. Like not just a couple. Like there's 26.
We have a picture
dolls.
of one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can pull one of them.
Like creepy life-size dolls and like dolls of all sizes.
Like that.
And so, but they said apparently like they didn't really make the connection right away that I'm sure like some of you guys are making. There's,
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
graves are being disturbed, and then this guy keeps collecting dolls, and then more graves are disturbed, and he gets more dolls, and he's really obsessed with cemeteries.
right.
Anyway, so the cops, they finally look at each other and they go, are these dead bodies? And one of the officers is going and inspecting one of the dolls, and he goes to touch it, and it starts playing music. And so throughout the apartment, they also find like doll making books and pamphlets and magazines and his notes on making dolls.
And to circle back to what you were just saying, like they would touch it and made music, is because he actually installed like little music boxes within the
he
bodies.
put like a music box in one of the dolls. And then also they noticed like they're finding all these maps of cemeteries with like notes on them and little red X's, like a treasure map. And so apparently Anatoly had been traveling back to the cemeteries that he went and researched and was exhuming dead bodies. And he made them all different. Like one would have little red boots and this one had a bonnet.
Right.
Oh, look, this one can sing. And,
Sure.
So the cops, like, they finally say it out loud. They're like, Anatoly, are these dead bodies? And he says, yes. And then unprompted, like, just goes into this whole spiel of how to make the best doll and what you gotta do. And if you're gonna use a corpse, like, these are the problems that can arise. And you have to go and buy actual doll parts because the eyes deteriorate and the skin deteriorates and you have to stuff them with rags. And he's just like going
He
on
actually
about it.
he would use buttons. If you look at the picture here, there's buttons in the eye sockets.
Mm-hmm.
And when they asked him later on about like why he put buttons in there, and he's like, so they could watch cartoons with me.
Yeah, because he said that was important because they did. They asked him like, why are you doing this? And he said like, I needed someone to watch cartoons with
And
me.
we've got another one here too. See, this one, it's like wearing a little winter coat. The little dress thing. I wish you guys could see my pointer because I'm like hovering over it, but That looks a little strange. It has like a little skirt or something. Is that what that is?
Yeah. I guess he had different clothes for them and he changed their clothes and things
Well,
like
and it was strange too. The guy, like most eclectic people, he wasn't very organized. He was, his whole apartment was just strewn about with books, and it was trashed, and like there's a bunch of stuff everywhere. Not trashed. That sounds judgy, but it was trashed. And there was like these dolls just strewn about everywhere. That's why like the picture, if you see here, there's just a bunch of stuff all around it, is because it was just strewn about. And we have another one.
But he went to explain that he didn't have any kids of his own and he wanted to watch cartoons with his kids and he didn't have any.
That's another one there.
And he also admitted that he believed that maybe one day science, or if he's studied a little more about black magic, someone somewhere would be able to figure out how to reanimate these corpses and that they would be alive. So he also said that he would pick relatively new corpses because he didn't want them so decayed that he wouldn't be able to bring them back to life.
Well, actually, the reason like he picked them, he would sleep on top of their grave, and he would talk to them and speak to them through like some of those old practices like we were talking about that he studied a whole bunch of back in the day, and he would make sure that their spirit actually wanted to be resurrected. And then he would then get the body out and take it. And so if the spirit answered him within his dream when he slept on top of the grave.
Right. Yeah, because he did say that like he felt bad that or like got a message that like he took pity on these kids because a lot of them were like kids.
Yeah.
They're ages like 3 to 25. I think 25 was the oldest.
I didn't know about a 25. All I got was 3 to 12 years old.
Yeah, there were.
I didn't remember any of the larger. I didn't see any of the larger dolls.
Yeah, there were a few that were like in their 20s, but he like believed that they were all his children, and that he wanted to like give them a better life because they died young. And didn't have a good life.
Which is sad to think about because the dude like tried to get, he wanted a daughter in particular, and he tried to file for adoption, but it ended up that like they denied him because of his income was so low and it was just him. His parents were like, don't do it, you can't do it, you can't support a kid on your own, but he's always just wanted children of his own, and he didn't have luck, obviously, with relationships and things like that, but yeah, he would see these as his children. Because interview later on, because like, a lot of people assume like he's like having sex with these things.
Yeah, and he said like
just,
it wasn't that. He said he wanted to have children and protect them and watch cartoons, and he was missing that in his life.
Right. Now the weird thing is he did all this normal stuff, like the normal like dresses and the stockings and the little face mask here and the wigs. The weirdest one I thought was whenever he actually made one into a teddy bear.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was just really strange because, like, I mean, I guess I get it, but I guess the body maybe had gone, and maybe he just had like a weird, quirky day where he was like, I'm going to make this one into a teddy bear.
Or he might have been like, my kids need a teddy bear.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And they took a little bit, again, you can see the size here. If you can compare to those pieces of paper and the books in the background, you can see that
it's like a little kid.
Maybe, 2, 3.
Yeah. So anyway, he lived with his parents the whole time. And the police, like, they had to, like, prove that it actually was these dead bodies. And so they went and interviewed the parents, and they said, like, you didn't know these were dead bodies? And they said, no, we had no idea. But, like, to their credit, you know how, like, when you go over to your grandma's house and it smells weird?
Yeah.
But she doesn't really notice that it smells weird?
Yeah.
I think it's, like, it's probably like that.
Right. I know that when I was living with my mom, though, if I was doing anything of the sort, especially whenever I was younger and I was doing green things of the sort, and she knew what it smelled like. Yeah. But I guess not everybody's like, ooh, that smells like dead.
Or maybe you go nose blind.
You could go nose blind.
Yeah. Or you just think it's garbage because it's like, hey, clean your room. It's a mess in here.
Yeah. Dewey Cox went nose blind, so.
I got no sense of smell.
Aaron says here they knew it was stinky.
Yeah.
You'd think they had to.
But
right?
at the same time, like, if you smelled a dead body, would you know it was a dead body? I mean, I feel like you smell like dead things. Like you see a deer on the side of the road and you smell like it smells like dead flesh.
And Aaron has a good point here too. Like grandma's house didn't smell like putrefaction. It's not a thing. But it could also be that like they said that they didn't smell anything, they didn't notice. They just thought it was weird. But there's parents out there, man, that will do anything and say anything, even if their child is doing something bizarre and weird, to protect them and stuff.
Now, one of the reasons why they're probably just in denial, but I do kind of believe that maybe they didn't know, or they were just like putting it on a site, because when they told the dad he had a heart attack, and the mom went into like this like advanced state of shock and had to be hospitalized. So like when they actually officially told them like these are dead bodies, like didn't you know about it?
But they could have done that. They could have went in the same states because like, oh, you found me out, now you're gonna arrest me.
Maybe, maybe.
Possible.
It's totally possible.
Or if it did, Grandma was dead. Sorry. That's good.
So anyway, after a much needed psychiatric evaluation, it was discovered that Anatoly, and I think we had a picture of him. We have a couple pictures of him.
This is his parents right here. Where is
Anatoly?
Anatoly's here. We were just talking about his parents, so let's pull that one up here. They're like kind-hearted old folk.
Like, he's just into his dolls. It's fine.
Got some grapes.
Fine.
Just eat their little grapes and a little pie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Dad's like, what? Ugh! You know? And I'm just kidding.
I told you to clean that up.
I told you to clean that up in there. All right.
Go get your own place. It's time you moved out. You're 55.
Aaron says maybe the parents were in on it and sewing clothes for them. Hey.
How weird would you feel if your
Yeah.
son's like, I need you to help me sew a dress for one of these dolls. And you're like, sure. And then you find out that, like, it's a dead body.
Kyle somehow wanted to associate the name of our vlog with this man.
Yeah, I was trying some things.
So
I was like, oh, I'll get a picture
but
of him.
this is the guy.
And I'll put him on a nice little background.
Right.
And yeah, so there you go.
Now it's our whole vlog is stained forever.
Stained forever.
Stained. But yeah, dude, you can look at it. Now, if you met that guy out in the graveyard somewhere when he's sleeping on it trying to talk to the spirits of dead children, you'd know something was up.
Yeah. Or you just say, like, he's quirky. like the police side. He's a little weird, but he's doing
fun
a
guy.
job. He's a journalist.
He's
they're
a
all
fun guy.
they're all a little weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, they found out that he had a form of paranoid schizophrenia, and he was deemed unfit to stand trial because he had, I think it was 44 charges of 11 different crimes, and he was facing 5 years in jail.
So he was arrested in 2011?
Yeah, in 2011.
Yeah.
Which, hold on a second, like,
This just happened.
doesn't it seem like that, like, you'd get more than 5 years for that? I know it's a different country,
Yeah.
but like,
But I think it's the same kind of laws around here. Is it not?
yeah, because
I
like
mean,
Carl
remember Carl
Tanzler,
Tanzler, our episode a few weeks back, or maybe a month back, he didn't get anything.
he didn't get anything, but it was because of the statute of limitations. But I don't know how much time he would have faced. But maybe it's like
Well, obviously not more than 7 years. It was 7 years.
we all think that like it's not that big of a deal apparently.
Right.
So anyway, so his criminal charges were commuted to a psychiatric clinic in 2012, and the court said you need to reevaluate him every year, and then the court will decide if his care needs to be extended. So 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 went by,
clinic?
and they kept.
It's him in the clinic.
They would reevaluate him every year, and they say no, like he still needs to be here,
Right.
away from society. So, but in 2018, his evaluation came up, and the doctor said, "We think he can go home. He still needs to have psychiatric care, but he can have outpatient care because we don't think he's a danger to himself or other people. We don't think he's going to do it again." But apparently, sometime between September 2018 and February 2019, something happened.
Right.
And they didn't say, like, I couldn't find, like, what it was, and I don't think they, like, released what it was, but something happened, and all the doctors changed their minds. And they're like, no, don't
Well,
let him
I'd
out.
assume it's the pressure of the families. Let me go back to this one right here. What is it? I think it was this one. Let me pull this up real quick. Sorry, bear with me, everybody. This one here. Yes, this little girl here actually was a murder victim in the first place. And the mother found out that when she was visiting the grave, she was visiting an empty grave. And then she finds out that her daughter is actually in his room, made up like a doll. So there was a lot of these children's family that like found out about this, and they were like,
and they're like pissed.
This person is a monster, and so they're pressured by. And obviously, that is very monstrous. That they're pressured by this, by the public, and by the stories and stuff going on, and that's the something I think that you're talking about, that you don't know what happened because there's all this pressure from them saying, no, this guy's a monster. Do you know what I had to go through already?
Yeah, don't let him
My
out.
daughter was already like brutally murdered, and then he digs her up and does this to her. Like imagine being that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. That totally makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it's bizarre.
So then in 2020,
Aaron says here that he's like the Russian Ed Gein. Ed Gein's weird.
But Ed Gein, like, he killed people, right?
I don't know.
Y'all look that up in the comments. Like,
Yeah, did Ed Gein kill? Did he actually murder people? I think he did.
I think he did.
I think he did.
Because Anatoly, he never killed anyone.
No, he was just getting the
Exhuming bodies.
little kid bodies.
So in 2020, the courts, he was up for evaluation again, and I guess he was close to being let out again, but the courts asked him, or told him rather, he needed to issue an apology. And he was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I was helping these kids. I was giving them their life back. So I'm not going to apologize.
Right.
And so they extended his care for another year. And I don't know what happened this year. I couldn't really find anything. But I'm assuming
they probably just like.
I'm assuming
closed the door.
He's still.
Aaron says here, yes, but mainly grave desecration. So he did kill.
Okay.
So, but he did do a lot of weird, crazy stuff
yeah.
to corpses and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of, yeah, for sure. She also says, or adds, he allegedly killed his mother and brother, but was actually found guilty of killing one woman.
Oh, so Ed Gein was only convicted of killing one person? I remember hearing like he killed a bunch of people, like serial killer.
Yeah, well, found guilty is different than like what he actually did. I think the reason Ed Gein is so famous is because like how sick and twisted all the stuff he did with like those corpses and stuff.
I don't know much about him. We should probably do like.
He made nipple belts instead of dolls. I think didn't he make lamp shades too? Some weird stuff like that.
Nipple belts?
Yeah, nipple belts. Yeah, take the dead body's nipples.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I think I have like an image,
of
but
what
like
nipple belts
nipple
are.
belts.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, does that make a good belt?
Yeah, which that's why again, if you think compared to this guy, because this guy was like trying to satisfy his loneliness. You know, and the other guy's like nipple belts.
But hang on a second, like, I'm trying to think. If I was going to use like body parts to make a belt, or like shoot a deer, and I'm gonna take the leather, and like, what am I going to use to make a belt?
Nipples.
Like that's like the last thing I would use.
You think so?
You know,
I don't know, man. Nipples can be pretty
decorative.
Decorative.
Yeah.
They could also be.
It's like a studded.
Well, I mean,
like a rhinestone.
I don't know how many nipples you play with, Kyle, but some of them are pretty indestructible. Indestructible. Yeah. Lampshades, ornaments with labia. Okay. A bodysuit. Man, we're gonna have to do an episode on Ed Gein at some point.
That's probably gonna happen.
That's pretty good. Nipple belts equals bras. Yeah, that's true. Hey, there you go. That's a pun.
Right.
But yeah, so like I don't think they've let him out. He's like locked away. Basically. Yeah. I mean, he's basically in jail. He's away from society. He's not out running free.
Yeah.
But it is a sad story, man.
Yeah, especially when he's like, I just wanted to give these kids a good life. Watch cartoons.
He always wanted to have children, could never have kids because he never had a successful relationship with someone.
Now, I guess apparently there was a time in his life where he had this friend, but it wasn't a sexual relationship. It was just kind of like a close friendship, I guess, and that was like kind of the only relationship he had. But yeah, like never had like a romantic. I guess like he said, he just never had like a romantic drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a sad story. I thought I was gonna be a lot more geeked out about this.
Right.
When we're like, oh, the Russian doll maker, I was like, oh god, that sounds terrifying.
Had you ever heard about it before I told you?
I hadn't heard about it, and
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, that sounds so weird. And then I was like, the story just keeps getting sadder and sadder and sadder. But it's creepy too.
Yeah, it is creepy. But I mean, like I said, they were saying that like he might have had sex with them. He denies that. It was only about he viewed them as his children, like you said earlier. And that whole thing, like the way he would sleep on top and like somehow justified it to himself. And that's why they were saying once he did like an evaluation, they were like, this guy's reality is so far over here. He's not fit. He needs treatment beyond what throwing him in a jail cell is going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's probably going to get murdered in a jail. He's not like violent in any way. He's not doing some kind of violent crime.
Yeah.
You know, twisted and sick, yes.
But he wasn't violent.
Dirty and gross, yes. But it wasn't violent.
Oh, and also, he's talking about like the gross part of it. He said that he was preserving the bodies with baking soda and salt water.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I don't think that would work. But obviously, like, the police reports were like, it didn't work that well because they were like, this place reeks.
Yeah.
You know? But y'all let us know if, like, you can, like, preserve stuff. I guess, like, salt water.
Let's know. Go grab a corpse and put some baking soda.
Like, go take up
Let us
Step
know.
1, dig up a corpse.
Yeah.
Step 2, buy some baking soda. Step 2, go to the beach, get some salt water. You put them all together. Let us know what happens.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't.
But it was after he was done though. He was quoted as saying, because they were like, how do you feel about this? Because he never really was like felt like he did something wrong. And they're like, well, what do you feel about this? Like, what do you feel about all these things you've done? And he's like, you abandoned them. I was only trying to keep them warm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just makes it so much sadder.
Yeah. Bizarreness. But if you guys have any comments or anything about our story we shared today, make sure to leave them in the comments. We'll get to them during our wrap-up. But before we do that, we are going to remind everyone that we still have merchandise over on storefrontier.com/Roshambeaux. We've got all kinds of sizes. Are the tank tops in yet?
They're not in. They're going to be in next month.
Next month. So be on the lookout for that. But go check out the store. We've got all kinds of cool designs, colors, cuts, and everything. And a bunch of different designs. And new designs coming very soon. But Kyle, what's your final thoughts on this, man? Was it alcoholism?
It was not alcoholism.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
because he did.
Just joking that one time we had a line like your son was like, it was alcoholism. It was like had nothing. What are you talking about? No. Go ahead.
No, actually, he said that he was sober. He said
Yeah.
he never did any drugs or alcohol. You should answer it.
I'm not answering.
Be
that.
like, hello.
Yeah.
We're doing a vlog.
Sorry, busy. Sorry, guys.
Gosh, my final thoughts on this is that it's so sad, and I guess it's sad that like someone else's reality is that warped, where it's like it's so real, where you go like, well, this is what I have to do,
Right.
and because it's kind of like. I feel like there's a lot of stuff you come across and you'd be like, oh, I can see that. Oh, I get that. And this, I'm kind of like, I don't really understand, like, why. Like, I can't put myself in his shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I don't think,
like,
because I would never cross that line. But I have been so lonely before.
But you understand being lonely, and
And
I
what
guess
it
it's
can
like
drive someone to
if
do.
you find something that makes you not lonely anymore.
Like someone like
Yeah.
like us have been so lucky to have like relationships and people that we've been able to share life with. We have each other, for instance, and a lot of those times people like that we take things for granted. If you imagine a life without any of that, from start to end, you have your parents, but they're gone all the time. You know what I mean? And you have that, but nothing else, and it's nothing but just loneliness. And what will that drive a person to do?
Yeah.
You know?
So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. You're right though, Becca. He was so wrong.
You're so lonely inside me a row.
Aaron says here, I wonder if what happened was that they changed their minds on the
On the DX?
On the DX, from paranoid schizophrenic to sociopath. Fill us in on what DX is.
Is it, or is it RX? Well, no. I'm imagining DX. RX is like prescription.
How they changed their minds on the diagnosis? He was really high functioning for paranoid schizophrenia. Oh, right. You know, those kind of things are always changing all the time, like how they actually define, diagnosis, how they actually define those kinds of issues and stuff. It's always changing and developing because everybody's so different. There's all these different variants of how people are.
I know what I saw. It said I can't remember the wording, but it was like a version of paranoid schizophrenia or a special case or. I mean, I don't really know a lot about schizophrenia, so I can't say he had these 8 things about him or whatever. But there's a lot going on with him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've known a few. Not like
I have to.
Not actual across the board, but actual schizophrenics and stuff like functioning.
I had a friend who was schizophrenic, and
we're not giving names.
Yeah, I'm not going to give names, but when he wouldn't take his medication, he would give me a call, and he was always very concerned about things. I remember he said that he needed my help because I was a musician, so I'd probably know about what he was thinking about.
Then you know he's crazy already because he thinks you're a musician.
And but I remember he said that he thought the government were making bombs that were going to go off when certain notes were played, whether it was a specific note or a certain sequence of notes. So he was trying to get someone to help him figure that out. And
how do you rationalize that they could hear you anywhere you were?
Well, I don't know what his rationalization was, but what he explained to me is he thought that there was a bomb somewhere and that it was going to go off if certain notes were played. And he wasn't able to figure out what notes they were, but he wanted to because he was concerned for, society or the victims of the bomb. So he was looking for someone he knew that was a musician to help him figure it out.
Right, and you realize, there's only so many notes.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't.
What tuning?
I didn't ask him about it. Maybe I should have asked him more about it. I'm not sure, but
because they're always listening.
And then I know also he said that in his experience, and this is when he was on his medication, he would say that he would experience certain emotions and then someone would be there next to him. So when he was sad, there was this little girl that would come and sit down and talk to him. And then when he was scared, there was a man in a trench coat that was always in the corner. And he said that was because he was diagnosed as schizophrenic. And he said that was his experience, and then that was the experience that I noticed, when he wasn't on his medication.
Well, we all know, I've seen those commercials. You've seen the ones where it's they said I couldn't do it. But now because of so-and-so, I can function normally at my job.
What?
You haven't seen those commercials?
Mm-mm.
It's like schizophrenic commercials.
Oh,
there's
really?
Medicine. This guy is working.
Oh, there's
job.
like medication, take this.
I don't know if it really does whatnot. I have no idea. But I'm just,
Oh.
Anyway, but before we go, if you guys have any more final thoughts, let us know. But crazy. But remember, go over to Patreon.
Do it.
Check out all the stuff we got over there. Like I said earlier in the beginning, that we are wrapping up on the new cover video. And we're already starting on the next one. And we're putting another request form in whenever this one's up. And we've got all this behind the scenes stuff, when we're doing stuff. And even just for as little as $1 where we give you a shout out. Mm-hmm. It goes a long way, man. And we really appreciate all you guys that are over there on Patreon. And thank you for joining up. And thanks for keeping us feeling like we're worth it.
Because you're worth it.
Yeah, because Kyle makes me feel like I'm not. But you guys make me feel like I can do it. So... we love you guys.
So I'm grateful for you, because otherwise I gotta be like, hey man, you're worth it.
Right.
Say it.
He can't say that. His
I
ego is this big. He can't say that kind of stuff.
Do it.
But anyway, thank
My
you guys
ego
so
will
much for joining us again today. We really appreciate it. Remember to tune in next Thursday when we're going to be doing another story. If you're not a part of the fam on Facebook, the Roshambeaux fam, go join up over there. It's really cool. Go follow us on all the different platforms, Facebook, Instagram,
Oh, and Twitter, like Elon
We
Musk
might
owns
be-
Twitter,
we might be
so
getting
we
back
might be
on-
doing more stuff with
We might
Twitter.
begin with Twitter.
Although
who knows?
apparently that's like everything's a controversy.
I'm-
It's just like
I've
how do you
stopped.
how do you feel about Elon Musk owning Twitter? And then
I think it's
and
great.
then if you say it's great or if you say it's not great, then oh well, so you think that like whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like no, I just think like oh
I don't
he
see.
makes cool cars.
I
he's on
did like
Twitter,
a
that's
couple
cool, you know?
adjusting to like what was being fed to me on my social media platforms, and I don't get any more of that. Like where it's like this weird polarization, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, like I haven't really seen what people are upset about.
Yeah.
I've just heard that like some people are really upset about it, and some people think it's really awesome, and apparently that aligns you with this crowd or this crowd, and I'll be
Yeah.
like,
I haven't seen any actual people that are upset about it.
Yeah.
I've seen corporations that are upset about it.
Right.
I do know that Donald Trump said that he would not be returning to Twitter even if Elon Musk owns it. You know why? Because of his truth media and website.
okay.
Like he's got his own social media platform.
I wonder if they'll like ask Elon and be like, will you let Trump back on Twitter?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think the plan is to let everybody back on because it's freedom of
I
speech.
think that was the whole idea of why he wanted to buy it. He's like, he's like, I remember I watched the interview like when he put the offer in.
Yeah.
And he said that his main concern really wasn't about necessarily protecting free speech. Is that giving people an open playing field where if you have these ideas or you have these ideas, the algorithm doesn't, bury your ideas here and then, put your ideas in front of everyone else.
Right.
Which I mean, I guess.
Which just sounds
I guess that's
good.
kind of,
Just
yeah, I mean,
sounds
like
good.
I was like, I don't really understand why people are upset that like someone else owns this.
Yeah. Well, if you made it this far through the video, let us know what you think down in the comments below. And again, as always, we're super grateful for you guys being here. Why did we even start doing this in the first place, Kyle?
Exactly.
So thank
That's
you for tuning
exactly.
in.
That's exactly why. No, like that is exactly why. It's because we'd be like, what are we gonna talk about? I don't know. We have 4 hours.
Yeah.
And we gotta talk about something.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna fall asleep. I'm
I
gonna
like
fall
you,
asleep.
you underestimate
right
4
now.
hours, man. We had like 6 hours. Be like, we just left the venue at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We've got 6 hours to make it
Yeah.
to the next town.
And you're like, we just gotta stay awake. We gotta
Yeah.
find something to talk about.
Yeah.
I remember one time before we started finding, we would sit there and we'd be like, hey, what's 37?
Yeah, we do math.
We'd be like, what's 782 divided by 37?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, okay, I see it in my head. What was that, 732? Okay.
Dude, maybe that's what we should have been doing in the first one. We should be telling these stories. Next time we're doing math. Just kidding. We're not doing that. We're going to have a cool, creepy story for you guys again next week. Thanks for being here.
We should do a segment of that, though. Like, see how long it takes you in your head to be like, okay, all right. Okay, 732, so it's 73 and 37. Is it going twice or is it only one?